Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I'm your host, Dr. Maury Mosovitz, with my all-time, most favorite, most wonderful, most special co-host, Jen Albanese. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Maury. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast.
We've got a good one today, Jonathan Danilich.
Yes.
When you embody the concept of school spirit and
it's him,
then taking that into your professional life, it is Jonathan. Like he does it in a professional way, but still embodies that belief in school spirit and pride. And so what I wanted to talk about in Jonathan's honor is traditions. What are the traditions that you feel like are like the most interesting or things that you like really appeal to you?
Gosh, there's so many in sports. Like you can talk, there's so many in professional sports, so many in college sports. And I think, and I know we'll talk about this with Jonathan, but traditions have to be something that's started by the fans and that they're organic. And departments and teams can start things for fans, but the fans have to buy in for it to be successful.
And you can help encourage and foster it once they are bought into it. Like you can help play into it, but it's a lot harder to like manufacture that.
Exactly. So, at Syracuse, obviously we have some, where,
stand and clap.
I was just going to say stand and clap before we make a basket at basketball for men's and women's basketball.
ACDC now at the start of every game.
Yeah, we got Thunderstruck, which is, I think we've tried to really do that. And I think people have really bought into that.
People seem to really like it.
Yeah.
See, that's one where like it started kind of, and now we've just kind of kept it rolling.
Exactly. I think about when you go across like the country, like you think about the jump at Wisconsin, jump around, and then you think about Enter Sandman at Virginia Tech. You think about what's the school where they wave to the kids in the hospital? Is that Iowa State? Iowa, where they like all turn at one point in the game, and
that's
they wave
like very touching.
That's so cool. Like such a cool like bringing the community into your traditions. So, there's so many good things.
There's ones that I had in college. I don't even think they made it to Jonathan's year because I also went to Syracuse that like I wish like came back. Like there was
you got to say it. Come on.
I don't even know the right way to say it, but we used to have a thing where we would hit on the bleachers and sing a song.
The Hay Song.
The Hay Song.
Yeah.
And the Hay Song was like such a big deal. And then a former administrator was like, oh, they say a bad word when they do it. So they got rid of it. But it was like so communal. Like everybody did it.
Yeah. Just YouTube it if you want to see it. Just YouTube it on.
And honestly, it was like something that was like so exciting about going to the games. And then like that would then lead into like, remember we used to do the wave all the time
all the time. Yeah.
So like it would go into that. And then I think during Jonathan's year, they kept doing it, but they pretended like they were surfing. Like they would hold kids up in the student section and surf. And I thought that one was really cool, the traditions that we would do. And, we used to scream stuff out when they used to introduce the visiting team for basketball, and that's died. I think after COVID that went away. And so there's just so many things that, things can come back and cycle back through. But we do sing, like a lot of schools do this, the alma mater at the end of the game, and everyone waves back and forth and the football team goes in the end zone. So, there's a lot of good things, and there's crazy stuff out there throughout the community. Like even the military academies that do stuff, like they have some crazy things like during the Army Navy game where they exchanged prisoners, like, which is that that's
crazy.
That where they have people that are on an exchange where they're learning from the other school. And then every year at the Army Navy game, they line them up and
that's awesome.
They go around and they go out, like just stuff like that it's part of what makes college sports so cool is those traditions and those things they do. And, Jonathan definitely is a person
part of that.
Yeah, he helps embody that.
Yeah, it's cool. We should put something on our social, like what are people's favorite like traditions that they've, experienced, whether it's at a college game or a professional sporting event that really kind of sticks out that they remember. So we should definitely see what our listeners think on that. And Jonathan has some great examples of that for sure. So
he'll have some good ones. So after these messages, come back and listen to some great words from Jonathan Danilich.
Are you a loyal 5 Tips and Tricks podcast listener? If not, now is the time to start. Get all your info and fun content on the podcast by following us on all our social channels at AthCareerPod. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting. Make sure to reach out to us. The one-stop shop for everything is our website, www.athcareer.com. Remember, follow and like us on @AthCareerPod, rate and review us, and get all your info at www.athcareer.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Maury, would you like to introduce our guest today?
Today's guest got his start at Syracuse University, where he earned his Bachelor's of Arts in Broadcast Journalism back in 2022. During his time there, he wore many hats, beginning as the promotions officer with Otto's Army in 2019, working his way up to president, ultimately serving as a senior advisor before his graduation. Alongside that, he sharpened his craft as a marketing assistant with Syracuse University, building skills in social media, marketing, and fan engagement. Since then, he has taken his position from the Orange to a whole new level. He transitioned into a full-time role as a ticket sales representative with Syracuse University Legends, a position he has held for nearly 3 years, and continuing a true champion of Syracuse Athletics, both on and off the clock. He brings professionalism, dedication, and genuine love for the game everything he does. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Jonathan Danilich.
Hello.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. That was a great intro there.
Maury loves the intro. Maury loves a good intro.
I love it. And I love being able to do it for someone that's so passionate. Like, we know you because you have your passion. And I think you are one of the best examples because you're really passionate about Syracuse and the sports, but also you're very professional about your job, and you're able to be like right on it and say, hey, I'm going to do this to support an organization that I really care about, and then be able to like turn it back on and be like, I'm going to be a fan today. And I think that's awesome because some people have no ability to do that.
It's not easy. Yeah. To be honest, like, we'll get into it, but there has to be a balance there. So it's not easy working for your alma mater. It's an absolute blessing, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
So, it's like a blessing and a curse. It's kind of like both. It's a little bit of both, but
absolutely.
We're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate it.
More than happy to do it. And I wouldn't be where I am without you two either. So appreciate you guys as well.
We're so glad that you got to do this and that we've got to be working with you for all this time. So
I
with
know,
that,
very proud over here. So.
A guy that has awesome tips. Let's start with the first one.
Yeah. This one's one that the first two I'm going to do are kind of more general, not as much tailored to my position currently. The next two are going to be very tailored to my position. But the first one I learned at a very young age. I've held leadership positions most of my life. This is kind of the first time that I'm not in a leadership position in the professional sense. But first thing is set the example. That's the biggest thing that I can teach anyone is be a servant leader. That was a term that I learned really, really young. I was actually a Boy Scout. I got all the way to Eagle Scout. And the best form of leadership is one that you don't ask people to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself. I think that when something needs to be done and you need to, like, obviously delegating is a very important part of anyone's job, right? But I think the people that you are delegating to, if they know that you would do it yourself, they're going to be much more willing to do it. Be available to help whenever you're needed, right? Like, I know one of the biggest examples, when I was in Otto's Army, we started when I was, little Eagle Scout, and then going to Otto's Army, and then we'll get into, athletics. But I remember in Otto's Army, if people don't know, the student section at Syracuse is gigantic. It's very hard to lead because it is the biggest in the country, especially for basketball, right? So one thing that we wanted to do when I was in a high leadership role was we wanted to start getting people out of the front row and start getting them into the crowd, right? Because not everyone can see you leading chants, you doing everything in the front row. And the first thing I did was I did that before anyone else. And did I want to do that? Absolutely not. I want to be in the front row of the student section every single time, right? When I was a student. But, I decided, hey, no one's going to take this initiative seriously if we don't, right? So that's, an example there. Another example is there's a lot of different departments in an athletics department. They're all going to need help at some point. Be willing to help them. I know that I get asked to do PA sometimes.
I was going to say, you come through, Jonathan, you come through for us so
all
big.
The time.
Anytime there's there's an issue, you are one of the top people on the list. Is like Jonathan will be there to help jump in, and we appreciate it so much.
Oh my God! Well, I couldn't have got through the fall, the fall that I had without Jonathan stepping in and helping us take over. Hey, I need you to run women's soccer game day for a couple of games and do this PA and help here and come to tennis. And
it's very appreciated.
You're always willing, and you're right. It's setting that example that you're willing to do whatever is asked of you, so that people that either you're managing or you're working alongside see that, and they're like, wow, that I can, if they're willing to do it, I can do that too. So leading by example is so key. And I think leaders forget about that sometimes, like that you need to lead by example. I always use the example of I'll roll a t-shirt anytime, and it seems so simple, but I don't know if some people might not be willing to do that or go down and get your hands dirty and do that kind of stuff. And if you're willing to do that, I think that sets you apart. So
yeah, and I don't want to use the term do the dirty work or anything, right? Because everything is necessary, right? Everything from the person that goes and gets your contestant from guest services to the person that's doing PA, to the person that's running the video board, to the person that's, the manager of the facility, right? Everyone is
important.
Has a role. Yeah.
There's not a single role that is not important. So I try to stay away from talking about the dirty work, but sometimes it is, there are things that people want to do, and there's things that people don't want to do. And sometimes doing the things that people don't want to do sets you apart. If I've never been in a position where I have to be a major, decision maker in terms of hiring. But if I was, I would take the person that I know is going to be willing to do stuff rather than the person that knows everything. And
absolutely.
Stuff, right?
Absolutely.
So that is, something that I've learned very quickly in sports. And I didn't really get into my story, but I didn't plan to be here. I studied broadcast. I'm actually in my natural setting right now. Right. So
you're way more experienced than Rory and I. So this is
you guys are doing your thing, though. You guys are doing your thing. So
I was gonna say too, you're the whole thing about servant leader does show that it has results, because as somebody that got to see what happened with Otto's Army and the student section during the time when you were in a leadership role, it's like herding cats. It is a ton of people who all have different things, and they're not, different friend groups and different things. And it was probably the most unified and rowdiest that had ever been when you were in a leadership role. And that's because you took it very seriously, and you made sure that you were putting yourself out there and the group of team that you were leading. And so I think it really does show results, and that's great experience that you got early on to be able to then bring that into other things that you're doing. So I think that's a great example.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. But that's just part of it. I always try to set the example. And I know that there's a lot of people in the department, you two being a main two of them, that do the same. So
thank you.
It's very important.
Awesome. Great start.
Okay.
What do we got for number 2?
Number 2 is, and I just touched on the fact that, you are going to get asked to do a lot. You're going to get asked to work a lot. It's just the reality of working in sports. You do have to take care of yourself sometimes. That's the number 2 tip that I have. I'll tell the story that when I started working in the marketing office, Jen probably, I won't say yelled, but she definitely got on me sometimes for the amount of time that I spent at the Dome, even when I wasn't working, the amount of time that I spent at, Olympic sporting events. I just wanted to be there, right? Sometimes you got to take a break. Sometimes you got to go home and watch a movie and do your skincare and
disconnect,
whatever you do, right? So, and I think I've gotten a lot better about that.
You have.
I mean, I watched your social post about you running, so I think that that's pretty incredible. Like that, I give you a lot of credit for that. It took me to get to 40 years old to do that.
It's funny you say that, and I the reason why is because I came into this year with 2 major goals, and neither of them have to do with my job.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
The 2 major goals that I have is I'm going to run a marathon this year.
That's awesome.
Full marathon. I've done a half before.
Let's go. That's awesome.
That's going to take a lot out of me. But it's something that I've always wanted to do. It really was, I don't want to get off topic, but you really find your calling in things. You just got to listen to what calls you. I used to hate running. I hated it, but I started doing it.
You love it.
I lost 50 pounds since I was in Jen's office.
That's crazy.
Because I started running, but I started loving it.
And that's part of taking. Yeah, it's part of taking care of yourself. That's part of taking care of yourself.
It's finding what works for you. Everyone will find their balance, right? The second goal that I want to do is I want to write and hopefully produce a short film this year.
That's awesome.
It's always been something that is I've always loved visual storytelling. It's just something that I've excelled at since a very young age, I think. And I've never done fiction before. I've always done, more journalistic documentary type stuff.
Right.
So I want to do fiction, kind of you got to make it believable, right?
Yeah.
So but neither of those have to do with my job.
No.
And I think that's really important, and you can show that you care about your job and yourself at the same time. It's not one or the other, right?
Both things can be true at the same time.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And
yes.
I think that especially in the last year or so, I've gotten really good at that.
That's awesome.
Which is important.
I hope it wasn't me. Hope it wasn't me yelling at you, but I also hope it was me yelling at you that you listened, because
it's a good thing.
And you can ask anybody in my office right now. I always say the same thing. I'm so adamant about if you're not feeling well, do not come to work. Stay home. Take care of yourself. It's me caring about you, but also selfishly, don't not wanting anybody else to get sick, and taking care of yourself. Like they say when you go on an airplane, put the mask on yourself, because you can't help anybody else or do any good work if you're not taking care of yourself and you're not healthy and you're not happy. So I think that's a great example. And I'm sorry if I yelled. That wasn't my goal, but I hope you like.
I
was being dramatic for the pod, So.
Hey, see, this is why he's the professional, Maury, not us.
But the reality of it is, though, as a supervisor, you don't want somebody that's there that is not capable of doing their job because they're so run down. And that is just, it's not helpful. Then when you really need that person at their best and doing, they're not capable of being able to, do their job. So it's a really good tip that people oftentimes glaze over. And I think the culture of, this country and the culture of sports, kind of pushes against that you're supposed to just go, 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 go. And I think it's great to step back and say, hey, I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself so I can do the right things when I'm at work. So awesome.
Availability.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a cliche, but availability is the best ability sometimes. It just is. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And to be that, you have to take care of yourself,
100%.
So
perfect.
All
okay.
Right.
Number 3, what do we got?
Yes.
So this one's more, so I work in sales now. A lot of my job is, selling season tickets, but a lot of it is group outings. We have a lot of youth teams that come to the Dome. We have a lot of, scout troop. I love Scout Day. Obviously, I was an Eagle Scout myself. I am an Eagle Scout. My dad always told me to say I am an Eagle Scout instead of I was, because I did accomplish
You did
that.
it.
That's right.
But essentially, not to get away from the point, relationships are so important. That is the most important thing about sales, and about, sometimes my job feels like community engagement almost. Like getting, like I said, youth teams, like reaching out to hospitals for healthcare appreciation night, like, stuff like that. People buy from people that they like, people that they trust, right? Like if you're doing something that, you come off as you don't really want to be there that day, or, it's going to be a lot harder to convince someone to, do what you want them to do, which is fill the Dome, right? So that is so important, not just in my role. I mean, it is very important in my role, but it's also important just in general too. Like knowing people is one of the most important parts of getting to where you need to go. Like I wouldn't be in the position that I am right now without Jen. 100%.
You're so sweet.
She's going to cry. She's going to cry, Jonathan. Watch out.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry, but that's very sweet.
But I tried to build that relationship from day one, right? I and hopefully, I mean, obviously it worked. Right? So,
absolutely.
But being genuine, I think that it's really important that people in my role specifically, when you have to deal with those, larger groups that you're bringing down to the field after the game, or, you're bringing onto the court for the national anthem, right? Like that's all stuff we do. First of all, that's the best part of my job, not even close. Because it's seeing the looks on those kids' faces when they're experiencing that, like that is my true calling, is bringing people together to do cool stuff like that, right? I literally made a whole YouTube video about it, actually. But it's not, you have to be genuine, and you have to be someone that those people can trust. Like,
Go ahead, Maury.
I was going to say, so like I'm at an age now where I have a lot of people that I have personal relationships with that will call up and say, hey, I really want to bring a group of like my son's, soccer team or lacrosse team or whatever it is, or people that I went to college with that were on lacrosse team, and come back, and I go through all the channels, and I go to, the gentleman that leads the Legends group and say, hey, I have this. And then I many times it'll be, I'm assigning this to Jonathan, and then I feel great about it, because every time you have had one of my personal connections that have been assigned always come back and said, this is the best thing ever. Always say by name what you did for them, and how you worked it out with them, and how comfortable you made it feel for them, and how great an experience. And that's so telling of what you're doing and what impact it makes. So like, I think it's incredible. And I always am excited when it's like, okay, I know they're in good hands. I can just step away from this. Not that anyone else is bad in the group, because a lot of people do some really great things, but I know that you always stick out. And I've always had people come back to me and say, hey, this has been a great experience, and cite you by name.
Well, and I think too,
that's
like
good to hear.
when you said relationships, like then people are going to want to come back. Like that's how you're successful in sales, is that return customer. Like that's how you make your money. That's how you fill the Dome. Yeah, you can get that one-off group, but if people like trust you, like you said, and they like you, and they like to talk to you, and they can feel your passion through the phone. I mean, we can feel it through the screen right now when you talk about Syracuse and we talk about what you're doing and what you love. They're going to want to come back. They're going to call you back next year and say, hey, I want to bring my group again, or I want to renew my season tickets, or I want to up my season tickets, or I want to buy more single game tickets, or whatever that may be. So it all comes back to what you said with the relationship, because then you're going to get those people to return and be return customers. Yeah. And that's the key to success right there.
Oh,
where
100%.
people call you and you don't have to call them.
Right.
Like that's success right there. So
absolutely.
And
it's being a good teammate too.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you know, one of the biggest things that you have to do as a sports organization is build lifelong fans.
Yeah.
You don't do that without
relationships
like this.
Yeah.
Relationships, right? Like all of that is so important, and it will set up your organization for success for years to come. That's the most important thing about all that. So
absolutely
awesome.
That is very, very, I learned very quickly that is the most important thing. People will not buy from people that they don't like. They will buy from people that they do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just what it is. And
awesome.
The same thing goes for leadership as a whole. They won't.
Yeah. They won't follow someone
they motivated to do things
if they don't like you.
If they don't like you. Yeah.
Right.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Okay. This is great. We got number 4.
Yep. This one's a big cliche, but it is so important. Listen a lot more than you speak. And that is, as I speak, I say that. You know, but especially in my role, like you're not trying to like act like you know better than the fan, right? Like the fan knows what they want. Most often they know what they want to do. I want to be down on the field when the team runs out.
Right.
I want to, you know, have a good experience. I want to pay for my kids' meals. Like all of that is stuff we can do, right? So asking questions and listening a lot more than you speak is so important in anything, especially in my role, but in
across the board. That is across the board.
Marketing, you have to listen to what the fans want. A lot of things like the best things happen organically. I know that you know that very well, right?
Say that for the people in the back.
You can't force people to want to have traditions.
It's gotta be organic.
Absolutely. And that's something that I learned in Otto's Army. That's something I learned in Jen's office. Like it's, you know, I learned that by making mistakes in Otto's Army, to be honest with you. But
that's how you learn.
Learning is that's how you learn, right?
You can water the seeds and make it grow, but you cannot make the seed. Like that's
absolutely. So listening is so important, especially in this day and age of college athletics, like and athletics as a whole. Like fans matter so much right now because they are genuinely directly contributing to the product on the field now and the product on the court now. It's just like they did before, obviously, but it's more important now than it ever was before. So, you know, try to sit back and listen a lot. I don't know if I'd recommend this, but I go on the forums all the time.
No,
all the time, right? But that's my way of being.
That's like a you know, it could be good and could be bad. You
have to be the right person for it. Let's put it that way, because some people can go down a
Jonathan. You
can deal with it.
I used to get talked about on those.
You're in a good place where you can deal with it and look at it like in a
good headspace.
A headspace. Yeah. There are some people that go down a very dark rabbit hole with it. So like,
but that's just part of it, right? Like every conversation that you have, you want to, you know, be a good listener and you want to ask the right questions. And, I mean, that always, it goes back to being personable, right? Yeah. Like that's the biggest thing. But, you know, you may know a lot about the product that you're selling. You may be the expert or whatever on the product that you're selling or the, program that you're running at a game, right? Or whatever. But the real people that matter are the people that are in those stands, because that's what gets you to where you need to go.
Yeah.
That's just true. Like that's all I can really say on it.
No.
Is, you know, if you don't listen to them, you're gonna lose them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think listening just across the board, like even when you're in meetings or you're in like professional settings too, like, that will set you apart when you're trying to set yourself apart from a group of interns or a group of staff. Like if you're all just talking over each other, the person who's sitting back and listening is going to be the more successful one and be able to evaluate the whole situation and see what works best. Like I always come back to like Herm Fraser was such a good listener. Like he would sit in meetings and just like absorb it all in, and then he would give his opinion, or then he would say what, if somebody asked him, like, what do you think we should do? He's like, okay, I just took everything in and now I can make the decision. So, and listening that's the only way you can figure out the best solution to something. Yeah. If you already have something in your mind, you might not hear anything else because you're already so focused on what you want to do, but it pays to listen. It really does. Yeah. And across the board and everything.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I don't want to downplay like preparation at all. Like that is so important, but reflection is
just as important. Correct.
As preparation, because that's how you learn what you need to do next.
Yep.
So
100%.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Jen.
I love it. All right, Jonathan.
Last
big
question.
One. So what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point in your career that you wish you knew when you first started?
I tried to make all these like in a line. I hope that like everything connects to everything. I wish I knew how many people you have to collaborate with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. There are so many people in an athletics department. I literally said that in the first thing. But you have to understand how your decisions are going to affect other departments, other people when you make decisions.
Yep.
I think if people go in and they just say, oh, I really want to do this because, and you have good reasons for it, take a step back and kind of look at how what you're doing affects everything. Right. That's how you're going to get respected in this space. That's how you're going to get people willing to work with you more often than not, right? Is, just being a good collaborator and just understanding the domino effect of everything that you do, because it happens a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
If you don't work in athletics. And you guys know that more than anyone. Right?
Yeah. Maury's like, yes, that's so
say
good.
it. Say it to the back. Say it to the back.
I know, we're going to say it again. The facilities person is like that right there.
But the one thing I will say is don't be afraid to look at that item. And I think you're good about that too, is sometimes you have to go and ask, like you said, engage with them and see where is your struggle with this and how might we be able to get to somewhere with this. And that's really the thing that's important, because I think the first thought is well, this is going to be an issue for the facility staff and they're going to say no. And sometimes it's we're not going to say no, but we're going to say you have to do it this way.
This way. Right.
And literally that's really more the conversation or whatever. Jen has the same scenarios and something like that too. But like you said, it's about it's about knowing everybody, collaborating with them and respecting that they have their role to play too. And how do you get everybody on board and in that ship, and you're so good at that too, is just how do you get everybody aligned so that you can do these successful initiatives. So I think that's a great example.
And people forget that there's so many people that are involved. And I mean, we've said this before, just like the team out on the court or the field, there's a team that's within the athletic department, and
everyone's part of the same team.
We're all on the same team, but we're all doing different things. Somebody's on defense, somebody's on offense, somebody's the goalie, somebody's the kicker, and everybody's got to work together to reach that one goal. And you can't have the blinders on and work in a silo and think well, I'm going to do this and that's how it's going to go. Everybody's got to be involved to make the team be successful. So I think that's good to know. And at a young age, that's helpful. When you're starting out, that's helpful to know that don't come in there and be well, this is what's going to happen. There's a lot of other people that need to be involved in those things. So I think that's a good one.
Jonathan, thank you so much. We know that you're going to be there at the Dome. You're going to be at the soccer stadium. You're going to be at softball and ice hockey. So anyone that comes up and see a game, it's like, where's Waldo? Where's Jonathan? Because he will probably be there.
He's usually taking a photo with Otto. That's his tradition.
I haven't done that in like 2 years. I haven't. It's been a long time, but yes, I used. Yeah, I mean, you try to have fun with it, but you be professional about it, right? Like, that's the name of it. I mean, the biggest thing, the biggest thing about working in athletics is you are a part of the team. You need to do what's best for the team, but you also need to do what's best for yourself at the same time. It's a hard balance. It's a very hard balance, but it's something that once you find it, you're way better off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. We so appreciate you doing this. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for everything. And
thank you.
We're lucky to get to work with you. So thank you.
We are.
I appreciate it. I'm lucky to get to work with you guys every day. And, I'm just excited to keep building. That's all we can really do.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yes. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and make sure you're following us on all your channels at AthCareerPod and listening on the podcast platforms and rating and reviewing. And a new episode drops every Tuesday. So thanks everybody. And thank you, Jonathan. Bye.
Bye. If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.